You're finally over your divorce and you're ready to get back into the dating world, but you suddenly feel intimidated. Well, there are so many modern ways of dating, such as apps. So the big question is, how do we get started? Joining us today from McNulty Counseling and Wellness is Sula Herreras, a licensed mental health counselor. Welcome back to Bloom, Sula.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
So I have friends that are out there and they're on the dating apps and they're trying to get their feet wet in the dating world again. But it can be really intimidating.
Yes, definitely. Because people, when they go through a divorce, they assume that they're on an island. They think that nobody has ever noticed them, nobody will ever look at them, or they've been through a traumatic divorce. So they're like, no, their feelings that they feel are, they're either terrified to even go out there, or they say, I don't even want anyone else in my life. Or sometimes the rare ones are the ones that are a little bit excited and say, oh my gosh, I'd love to be in a relationship where someone treats me right.
And so you talked about like one of the biggest roadblocks, and that is just like lack of confidence and just not feeling it. Any other roadblocks that are keeping people from getting out in the dating world?
One of the biggest ones is what people are going to think, how they're going to be judged. Because when you go through a divorce, everybody hears different sides and they take sides, and people are coming up to you and saying things to you about your ex or you. And so now people are thinking, oh great, now I'm going to start dating. What is everyone going to think if I start dating? Or what if I don't go for the guy that I was married to? What if it's a completely different type now that I want? You know, the second one, the biggest one we see are kids. Kids, and how do you maneuver the dating with the kids? And everyone's afraid about what their kids are going to think. And I always tell people, you want to model a good relationship for your children. You don't, this is not the era of our parents where people would get divorced and then just stay celibate for the rest of their life or anything like that. Because eventually your kids are going to grow up and they're going to go on with their lives. You can't be attached to them forever, number one. And number two, you want to model that if this happens to them, you don't want them completely not having anybody in their life because that's how mom did it or that's what dad did and it was fine for them, so it's fine for me.
Yeah. Or even staying in a terrible marriage and showing that as the example, and you know, instead of believing in yourself to get out if it's warranted. Therapy must be incredibly important for newly divorced people.
Right, because what happens in therapy is we can help you figure out, okay, what are you looking for in somebody? What are you going to find? Because that's going to help you when you go on those apps. It's going to help you when you talk to other people. The other thing is we're going to help you find that self-confidence, because going through a divorce just leaves a lot of people shattered. And so we help build them back up, and we also help them realize that, you know what, maybe you don't want to get married again, but you may want companionship. So we look for parameters and we help them with that. What is it exactly that you need in a partner the next time around?
So how do people get jump started? I mean, what are some ways to put yourself out there? What do you advise your patients?
The first thing I say to them is, what are you presenting yourself as when you're around people? Are you presenting yourself as this person who's newly divorced, don't come near me, and you're walking around with this vibe of I don't want anyone to talk to me? Because no one's going to engage with you then. What you need to do is let people know. You don't have to put out a big neon sign, but you know, when talk to your friends, plant some seeds. You know, I can't wait to be in a better relationship than my marriage. I can't wait to meet somebody so that when people walk up to them and ask them, hey, is she ready to date yet? They can say, as a matter of fact, she is. And the other thing is, we think as divorced people that we live on an island and nobody's going to notice us. Well, you know what? People have noticed. They've noticed your smile. They've noticed how kind you are. They've noticed how sweet you are to people and how you communicate. And they can notice that even when you're married. And then when you get divorced, somebody may be coming up to you and say, oh my gosh, do you want to get lunch? And I love it when my clients say, oh my gosh, I was at football practice for my child and somebody asked me to lunch. And I say, I hope you said yes. You know?
Is it, we have about 30 seconds left, but is it okay to kiss a few toads before you find your Prince Charming?
That's where the dating apps come in. It's absolutely great to use the dating apps because one click you get rid of somebody, but you can also look for somebody who has values the same as you, goals the same as you, and things that maybe they have kids too and they've gone through this too.
Yeah.
You aren't alone. Everybody goes through this when they go through a divorce.
This is a great subject. I know it touches a lot of people's lives, and I'm glad you're giving people hope because to your point, you're right. A lot of my friends are in great relationships now, and they didn't feel that way when they were heading out into the dating world. So thank you so much, Sula.
You're welcome.
Always appreciate it when you come on Bloom.
Thank you.
All right, if you want more information, you can visit McNultyCounseling.com, and we're going to be back with more Bloom right after this.